The triple homicide on Ashley Road near Kalispell, Montana, a location that evokes images of pristine wilderness and peaceful small-town living, represents more than just a crime, more than just a tragic statistic. It's a profound tear in the fabric of reality itself, a horrifying descent into an almost primal fear, a darkness that has seeped into the collective consciousness of a community. The discovery of 3 bodies, 2 men and 1 woman within the confines of a single residence, a home that should have been a haven in 2023, transformed a quiet, unassuming road, a place where neighbours likely knew each other, where life moved at a slower pace, into the epicenter of an enduring, deeply unsettling and, as of yet, unsolved mystery. It's a place where the ordinary, the mundane routines of daily life were brutally, irrevocably shattered, replaced by the chilling spectre of unspeakable violence, a violence that remains unexplained, a wound that refuses to heal. With no arrests made as of May 2024, and the motive, the why of this horrific act, remaining buried beneath layers of unanswered questions, speculation and growing fear, the case casts a long, dark and ominous shadow of uncertainty, fear and a profound sense of violation, not just over the immediate vicinity, but over the entire region, a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present potential for darkness to erupt, even in the most unexpected places. This isn't merely a news headline, a fleeting story to be consumed and forgotten. It's a fundamental rupture in the perceived safety and security of a community, a brutal intrusion of darkness and chaos into the everyday lives of ordinary people, a violation that leaves an indelible mark on the collective psyche. The silence surrounding the case, a silence maintained by law enforcement, punctuated only by occasional, carefully worded and often frustratingly vague statements, amplifies the unease, the anxiety, the sense of dread, creating a vacuum that is rapidly and understandably filled with a chilling blend of speculation, rumour, whispered conversations, and the gnawing, relentless and deeply primal fear of the unknown, the terrifying knowledge that a killer or killers remain at large, their motives a dark, impenetrable and potentially dangerous secret, their next move, if there is to be one, completely unpredictable. The initial discovery on Ashley Road, a scene meticulously shielded from public view, and rightfully so, but forever, indelibly etched in the minds of the first responders, the law enforcement officers, and the investigators who were forced to confront the immediate aftermath of the violence, was, by all accounts, even those carefully guarded and indirect, a tableau of undeniable, unspeakable horror. While the specific, graphic and potentially traumatizing details about the crime scene itself have been, and should continue to be, carefully guarded by investigators, both to protect the integrity of the ongoing, complex and extremely sensitive investigation and to spare the families of the victims further unnecessary pain and anguish, the very fact of a triple homicide, the sheer scale, the brutal efficiency of the violence, speaks volumes, painting a grim, disturbing and profoundly unsettling picture of brutality, a chilling disregard for human life and a level of violence that is almost incomprehensible to the average person. Three individuals, each possessing their own unique lives, their own intricate histories, their own cherished hopes and dreams for the future, were extinguished, their lives brutally and irrevocably taken, within the confines of what should have been a sanctuary, a place of safety, security and refuge, a home, the very symbol of domestic tranquility. Their sudden, violent and seemingly senseless deaths created a cascading, devastating ripple effect of grief, shock, disbelief, and a profound sense of loss, leaving families shattered, friends struggling to comprehend the incomprehensible, to make sense of the senseless, and a community grappling with the terrifying, unwelcome intrusion of violence into their previously peaceful and seemingly secure existence. The lack of readily available, specific and officially confirmed information about the precise circumstances surrounding their deaths, the exact method or methods used by the perpetrator or perpetrators, the detailed, minute-by-minute timeline of events leading up to the discovery of the bodies, the potential relationships or the agonizing lack thereof between the victims and the killer or killers only serves to deepen the unsettling mystery, to amplify the pervasive, chilling sense of fear, vulnerability, and the gnawing uncertainty that hangs heavy in the air like a suffocating shroud. The investigation, meticulously, deliberately, and painstakingly conducted by the Flathead County Sheriff's Office, has been, from the outset, characterized by a tight-lipped, cautious, and understandably secretive approach. A strategy undoubtedly and necessarily designed to protect highly sensitive information, to preserve the integrity of any and all potential evidence, however small or seemingly insignificant, and to avoid at all costs jeopardizing the chances of a successful and ultimately just prosecution. A prosecution that will bring the perpetrator or perpetrators to justice and provide some measure of closure, however incomplete, to the grieving families. This necessary, strategically vital silence, however, has inadvertently and perhaps unavoidably fueled a growing and increasingly palpable sense of frustration, anxiety, fear, and rampant speculation within the community, creating a fertile breeding ground for rumor, for misinformation, for whispered conversations in hushed tones, and for increasingly dark and disturbing imaginings. The absence of arrests, the continued lack of a publicly identified suspect, or even a clearly defined, officially designated person of interest, leaves a gaping, unsettling, and deeply frightening void. A vacuum that is quickly, understandably, and almost inevitably filled with a volatile mixture of rumor, conjecture, half-truths, and increasingly terrifying scenarios, fueled by the human need to understand, to make sense of the senseless, to find a narrative, however flawed, that can explain the inexplicable. Was this a meticulously planned, coldly calculated, and flawlessly executed targeted attack? A triple execution carried out with chilling precision and a complete absence of remorse? Or was it a sudden, explosive, seemingly random act of violence, a terrifying eruption of chaos and brutality, a stark and brutal reminder of the unpredictable and often unfathomable nature of evil? Was there a pre-existing connection, a hidden link, a tangled web of relationships, or a long simmering dispute between the victims or between one or more of the victims and the perpetrator or perpetrators? Or were they tragically, randomly brought together by some unknown, sinister and ultimately fatal circumstance, a cruel twist of fate that sealed their doom? Was the motive rooted in something seemingly mundane like robbery, a desperate act gone horribly wrong? Or was it fueled by something far more complex, far more personal, far more deeply rooted in a twisted web of revenge, jealousy, obsession, or some other dark, unfathomable psychological compulsion? These questions, unanswered and at this stage perhaps unanswerable, even by law enforcement, hang heavy in the air, thick and suffocating, like a dense, impenetrable fog, creating a pervasive, chilling atmosphere of unease, suspicion, fear, and a deep, profound sense of vulnerability that permeates every aspect of daily life within the community. The absence of a known, publicly established and officially confirmed motive, the why behind this horrific act, adds another layer of chilling complexity, profound fear and unsettling uncertainty to the already deeply disturbing and profoundly tragic Ashley Road murders. Without a clear, definitive and verifiable understanding of why these three individuals were so brutally and senselessly killed, it is virtually impossible to fully or even adequately assess the level of risk, the potential for further violence, to the wider community. Is there a killer or killers still at large, roaming freely, driven by motives that remain hidden, motives that are potentially dangerous, motives that could, conceivably, lead them to strike again, to inflict further pain and suffering? Is this a horrifying, isolated incident, a singular, contained burst of unimaginable violence with no further implications, no further threat? Or is it a terrifying harbinger of further bloodshed, a chilling sign that something even more sinister, more pervasive, is lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to erupt again? The lack of concrete answers, the frustrating, agonizing silence from official sources, however strategically necessary and understandable that silence may be, breeds a particularly insidious, deeply corrosive form of fear. A fear that feeds on uncertainty, on the unknown, on the limitless, terrifying possibilities that the human mind can conjure. It allows the imagination, unchecked and unconstrained by facts, to run wild, to create and populate scenarios that are increasingly dark, increasingly disturbing, and increasingly terrifying. The residents of Ashley Road and the surrounding areas of Flathead County, a community once known for its peace and tranquility, are left to live with the unsettling, deeply disturbing, and constantly present reality that a killer or killers may still be among them, walking the same streets, shopping in the same stores, breathing the same air. A constant, unseen, and potentially imminent threat. A ghost in their midst, a living nightmare, a shadow that darkens every doorway and chills every conversation. The Ashley Road murders serve as a stark, chilling, unforgettable and profoundly disturbing reminder of the inherent fragility of human life, the ever-present, lurking potential for unimaginable violence, even in communities like those surrounding Kalispell that are typically and often mistakenly perceived as peaceful, safe, secure, and somehow insulated from the horrors and the darkness that can plague other parts of the world. The case has irrevocably shaken the very foundations of trust, security, and the sense of normalcy in Flathead County, forcing residents, both long-time and newly arrived, to confront the uncomfortable, deeply unsettling truth that such horrific, inexplicable events can happen anywhere, at any time, to anyone, shattering the illusion of safety and leaving an enduring scar on the collective psyche. It underscores, with brutal clarity, the vital importance of community vigilance, of neighbours looking out for one another, of fostering a sense of shared responsibility for safety and security, and of reporting anything, however seemingly insignificant, however seemingly trivial or out of place, that might arouse suspicion, that might provide a crucial clue, that might ultimately help to solve this horrific crime. The profound lack of resolution, the lingering, unanswered questions that swirl around the case like a persistent, chilling fog, and the agonizing, unbearable absence of justice for the victims create a palpable, pervasive sense of unease, a deep festering wound that cannot fully heal until the truth is uncovered, until those responsible for these brutal murders are identified, apprehended and brought to justice, held accountable for their actions before the law and before the community. The case is a powerful, chilling and unforgettable testament to the enduring challenges, the frustrating complexities, and the often heartbreaking realities faced by law enforcement in solving complex, often brutal and seemingly motiveless crimes. Particularly when physical evidence is scarce or inconclusive, when witnesses are few, unreliable or non-existent, and when the motives of the perpetrator or perpetrators remain shrouded in darkness, mystery, and a chilling, impenetrable silence. It is a desperate, urgent and morally imperative call for continued, unwavering, relentless investigation, for a dedication to finding answers that borders on obsession, and for an unyielding, uncompromising commitment to ensuring that the victims of the Ashley Road murders are not forgotten, that their memories are honoured, not just with grief, but with action, and that justice, however delayed, however difficult to achieve, is ultimately and completely served. The triple homicide on Ashley Road is far more than just a local tragedy, a fleeting headline in a regional newspaper. It is a potent, chilling symbol, a stark and unforgettable representation of the darkness, the violence, the inexplicable evil that can intrude upon even the most idyllic, seemingly tranquil settings. A brutal reminder that evil can exist anywhere, concealed beneath the surface of everyday life, lurking in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. It serves as a constant, haunting and deeply unsettling reminder that the pursuit of justice is often a long, arduous, frustrating and emotionally draining process, a journey fraught with obstacles, setbacks, dead ends, and the constant agonizing pressure of knowing that lives have been lost and that the clock is always ticking. Until the perpetrators are identified, apprehended and brought to justice, held accountable for their heinous actions, the shadow of Ashley Road will continue to loom large, dark, ominous and profoundly unsettling over the community. A constant chilling reminder of the lives tragically lost, the innocence shattered, the peace disrupted, and the enduring, perplexing and deeply disturbing mystery that remains, a mystery that demands, with increasing urgency, to be solved. The silence surrounding the official investigation, a silence dictated by the necessities of law enforcement procedure, while strategically necessary and completely understandable, must ultimately be broken, not by speculation, not by rumour, not by fear-mongering or baseless accusations, but by solid, irrefutable and legally admissible evidence, by meticulous, painstaking and relentless detective work, and by an unwavering, uncompromising and ultimately successful commitment to uncovering the complete and unvarnished truth, no matter how difficult that truth may be to find, no matter how painful it may be to confront, no matter how long it takes to bring it to light. The community deserves answers, deserves closure, deserves to feel safe again. The grieving families deserve peace, deserve to know what happened to their loved ones, deserve to see justice served. And the memories of the victims, those whose lives were so brutally and senselessly taken on Ashley Road, demand, with a force that cannot be ignored, with a moral imperative that cannot be denied, nothing less than full and complete justice, a justice that will hopefully bring some measure of solace and healing to a community deeply wounded by this horrific and, as of yet, inexplicable crime. The chilling, pervasive silence of Ashley Road must eventually be replaced by the clear, unwavering and ultimately triumphant voice of truth and justice.